The latest actor to play Ezra Bridger, and well, I suppose the second actor and the first one to play him in live action, recently stated he avoided watching all of Rebels because he didn't want to be influenced by the series. This has caused him to get some backlash, and well, let's talk about it. So since we've been talking a lot more about Star Wars here on the channel, which I'm glad to talk about Star Wars in a positive light, I'm not going to talk about too much negativity, and when things like this happen, I will do it at a request from you guys, and you guys know I'm always going to talk about the more positive side of things. With that in mind, and since we are talking about Star Wars more on this channel now, and we will be actively going forward, I do want to say, out of all the Star Wars content ever, Star Wars Rebels is my favorite Star Wars content ever made. Like, that's how much I love Rebels. So, to me, just understand that I'm a huge fan of that series. Just like some people are of Heir to the Empire, some people are of specific prequels. One of my best friends, Episode 3 is the greatest Star Wars piece of content to him. Another one of my friends, it's Knights of the Old Republic 2. Everybody can have a favorite piece of content, and that's fine. What we're here to talk about is what he said. So, here's what he said. So this comes at us directly from Eman Esfandi, who plays Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka. He says that when it came to getting this role, after he landed it, he on purpose set out to avoid watching the rest of Star Wars Rebels besides just the basics. Now, a lot of people that have been talking about this, they're only focusing on this and these parts of multiple quotes that he gave and aren't necessarily talking about the bigger picture here. And what he says is what many other actors have said about multiple roles they've taken. From Heath Ledger and how he avoided watching previous iterations of Joker besides just the basics, to people like Andrew Garfield, who said when he landed Spider-Man, try to avoid watching the Raimi films again. Same with Tom Holland and other actors. What he said was he wanted to avoid it because he knew the basics and he didn't want to watch a younger version or a different version that is obviously a different character. He knew what the plot was, where his character was going to be, and he had to put himself in a mindset of how does this character now, after all these years in this place, grow in this environment and is different. And that is why he avoided watching it, because this Ezra is not the Ezra we saw when we saw him in Rebels. This is the way you got to do it. Remember, Henry Cavill took on Superman. He said, yeah, I don't want to watch the last version or the TV versions because I'm going to do my own Superman. This happens all the time. Why would you want an actor to go watch other performances and then possibly have his performance impacted by trying to mimic them? That's not what you do. When you do something like that, you get Superman Returns, where Brendan Routh was hired to specifically do Christopher Reeves. He did it. It was great. But again, he wasn't him. He wasn't himself. He was just mimicking another version. It kind of took away from some of Brendan Routh's strengths.